Hallo, hallo. And here in this video, I'm teaching you German numbers. 1, 2, 3. You've heard that before. It's not new. So let's see what else can we add to it. Eins is how you, that's how you spell eins. A-E combination, a diphthong. A-E is always pronounced as I in German, okay? Eins. Eins. And that letter at the beginning is not a Z, is a Z, right? And then we have V. So your word is zwei. Zwei. Z, V, and the diphthong I. Zwei. Zwei. And then drei. Drei. This letter at the beginning is not a V, it's a F. Foul, right? So we pronounce it as a F. Vier. The diphthong E-A combined together produces just long letter E, or sound E. Vier. Vier. And now the next one is fünf, which is a number that contains an umlaut. You see that? U-umlaut is pronounced as Ü. Fünf. Fünf. Okay, start from the beginning. Eins. Repeat after me. Eins. Zwei. Drei. Vier. Fünf. Sechs. Sechs. Sieben. Sieben. Acht. Acht. Neun. Neun. Guys, this diphthong E-U combined is producing the sound Oi. Always in any word. If you see A and U together, you'll pronounce it as Oi. Neun. Neun. And the number 10 is zehn. Zehn. Okay, so H in the middle of the word, if it follows a vowel, never has a sound on its own. It just makes that vowel, preceding vowel, sound longer. Zehn. Let's go back from 10. Zehn, neun, acht, sieben, sechs, fünf, vier, drei, zwei, eins. Okay, move on. Now we have a little elf. And it's not elf because all German L's are pronounced soft. So elf, elf, elf. Can you pronounce this word? Try. You should know your letters before you learn your numbers. The first letter is Z. The sound it makes is Z, Z, Z. Then we have V, V, V. O umlaut, which is Ö, Ö. Soft L, 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 and F. So, 12. I know it's not easy. Try again. 12. 12. Okay, 11, 12. And now it gets a little easier. So the next would be 13, and it's 3 and 10. So 13. 13. 14. 14. 15. 15. And the next one should be, yeah, it's sechs and zehn, but we dropped that S that we had right here on sechs. And we just have 16. 16. The next one is sieben. We drop the EN and say 17. 17. So these two are a little tricky, but the remaining ones are easier. 18. 19. And the word for 20 is, can you read that? Now, if you read it like 20, that's okay, because in some regions of Germany, that's exactly how they pronounce the ig endings, ig, 20. But standard high German asks you to pronounce that ending as ich. Whenever you see ig at the end of words, König, yeah, 20, you should be pronouncing it as ich. Now, if your Oma insists you should be pronouncing 20, do it because she likes it that way. It's not a problem. You would be understood anywhere in Germany. It's just regional. Okay, so the standard would be 20, but you might hear other options. Okay, 20. And now that's where it gets really interesting. Okay, so after 20, you have 21, so you'll go 20, 20, 1, right? 1, 20, 1. Would be easy, but it's German, so can't be that easy, right? In German, 21, and starting, with 2-digit numbers after 20, you always have to start from the back. You're going to go 1 and 20. So you're going to go with 1 und 20. By the way, 1, you see that it drops that S. So there's no S after 1. So it's not 1 und 20, but 21. And then we have 2 und 20, 2 and 20. Right? And what's the next one? How do you say 3? So 23 will be 3 and 20, right? 3 und 20. Okay, try again. 3 und 20. And the next one? 24. Yes, 24. And so on. So you're going to go 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. So you have those basics from 1 to 10, and then you're going to attach them to your tens, right? So let's go over tens. 20, 20. 30 is 30. Do you see there is SZ in the middle? This one is an exception, but the remaining one will be easier. So it's just 30, that's somewhat special. So we have 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Again, the S on 6 disappeared because we added that Z to it that already has that S sound, right? 60, 70, 70, 80, 80, 90, 90, and then you have 100. Okay, 100. So, if you wanted to say something like 123, you would actually first mention hundreds so that you're done with them, and then go back to the 2-digit ones. So you're going to go with 100, 3, and 20. Right? So once again, 123 will be 100, right? 100. And then you have a 2-digit number, and the 2-digit one is the weird one. So you'll have to go from the back, 3 and 20. Okay, so what is it? 100 stands for 100, right? And then we have, how do you say 3? 3 and 20, right? 20. Okay, so what's your number? 123. Yes, all one word. 123. Once again, 123. Okay, let's try one more. Number 648. So what do we have here? We have 600, right? So you will take them separately, and then 48. Okay, so how do you say 600? 600. 600, 600. Now, how do you say 48? Remember, you have to think backwards. You have to say 8, right? 8 and 40. And 40 is 40. So what is going to be your number? You're going to go with 600, and then you have to go 8 and 40. 48. 648. And a little faster, 648. And one more time, 648. I know it's not easy, guys, but you'll get used to it. It's not something that's going to haunt you forever. All right, next number. Let's try. Year 1957. So, again, let's separate hundreds from the tens. How many hundreds? 19, right? And then 57. So how do you say 19? 19. And then it's 100. So 1900. You see how I'm going? 1900. 1900. And then you have to deal with 57. And how do you say 57? It's going to be 7 and 50, right? 50. Right? So 1957. Can you do that? 1957. Yes, that's exactly how we would say that here. 1957. Once again. 1957. Okay. Let's try a different way. Now you have a word here. You have a number. 1384. Once again. 1384. What could it be? How do you have to look at this number? When you hear or see 1384, you would think, okay, there is 100 right there. So how many hundreds? How many 100? 13. What's 13? 1300 is 13. So 1300, right? And now we have what is left is 84. 84 is 4 and 80. Yes? So we have 1300 and then we have 4 and 80, which is what? 84. Right? 4 and 80 is 84. So what is the number? What's the hidden number in 1384? 1384. Okay? So, Dankeschön. Have fun learning numbers. Tschüss.